welcome to another episode of What the Fuck Do You Do? We got a really awesome guest, Dorian. He's a sommelier.
Yes.
Dorian.
Is that the right pronunciation?
Yeah,
even?
Dorian, yeah. Sommelier, yeah. Sommelier.
There was like a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
He was like,
feel
I'm
confident on
going to
that.
commit to this. No, I always tell people it's like sommelier, and like my boss would say, yay, like yay, like
Sommelier.
what, yay, sommelier. So it's just like
It's a
kind of
happy
it's like happy, yeah, exactly. Well, we want to believe it's a happy profession. There's moments of like, oh man, like this is terrible. It's great to be here, man. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah. So what does a sommelier do?
So by definition, sommelier is considered like a wine steward. In its purest form, it is a person that is in charge of the beverage program, the wine program, to be more specific, and they handle all the ins and outs of that, whether it be ordering the wines, receiving the wines, entering invoices, putting the wines away in the cellar, making sure that inventory is up to date, and then from there, it's being able to work in a restaurant and assist guests and people that come in to either have a glass of wine or a bottle and kind of give them an experience and make the best recommendation according to what the customer is in the mood for.
That's crazy. So you kind of, when you get into it, do you have to be at a restaurant or a wine bar, or can you go like solo?
I think now sommeliers have there's a huge range and there's a lot of opportunity where again it's no longer this traditional where we're bound by like, oh, I have to work in a restaurant or and just do this. It's like you can earn the credentials and then from there you can do plenty of things. I always mention Andre Mack. He lives around in this neighborhood in Brooklyn, and he's like one of those like celebrity songs where he's just like doing these like little episodes on Bon Appetit and what have you. So it's like he's just like living and cruising and doing that, and then or you could just really just oversee like just a beverage program. You don't even have to be on the floor anymore. You could just run like a chain of like restaurants, steakhouses, and be like, well, here's this list that I made and send it out to all the restaurants, and that's it. So it's very like don't have to interact with people.
That's pretty cool.
Which can be nice sometimes. And then there's some times where it's like, I have to talk to people.
Yeah.
This is the launch pad for Bon Appetit, actually. Had a lot of people come through here and kick off their careers.
Yeah, this is where it starts.
Media and entertainment. Yeah.
So out of all the activities you were mentioning, like what percentage of your day do you spend, talking with customers or curing wine or doing invoicing, like all that stuff?
So I think most restaurants have it this way, especially when it gets to like higher end like Michelin restaurants and things like that. There's a tier system where it's like you have your beverage director, who's usually a somm as well, and is either through the quartermasters or WSET or what have you, and he oversees the program, and then you have what we call like floor somms, and these are the people that are just selling wine. Like we're there for the shift, we're there for the night, and we're just here to sell wine. I spend a majority of my time working at the bar at Cork Bus. I'm like behind the bar, so it's a little bit of a hybrid kind of situation where it's like I make the cocktails too, but I'm also there to help and navigate the list for customers and everybody obviously. But most of my day to day, I consider myself like I'm that floor somm situation where it's like this is where I spend my time. I spend my time talking to guests one-on-one and having that versus like doing the back end stuff, the admin stuff.
Sure.
Like I don't,
Less fun.
It's less fun, yeah. It's more like just writing things down, and I don't. Yeah, I think it's cool, but I'm like, no. I like the idea of like meeting people and having that conversation. For the most part, I want to believe that.
Right.
That's what I like to do.
Seeing their face when they try the wine.
Yeah, that too. Or them telling me I don't like Chardonnay, and then you're like, cool, try this, and then like, oh, I love that. You're like, cool, that's Chardonnay. that experience is always for me like so funny. You're just like, come on, like don't say that. Like don't turn it down. Like give it a shot.
That's what I feel like. That's what gets me really curious is that I feel like there's such good customers I've seen drink wine and such bad customers, and like the people who are super pretentious about like, oh, I know all the tastes and flavors and everything, and they're just totally ass backwards on it. Versus someone who's just like, oh, like I want to try it all. I don't know anything.
Yeah.
What are those different ranges of people that you see, especially like at a wine bar where people are coming in all the time to drink?
Yeah. It's it's actually been fun. It's been an experience working at Cork Bus. I've been there for about 5 years now. Which is like the longest I've ever spent in a certain location. I kind of like a nomad. I like to like pick up little bits and pieces and keep it moving. But Cork Bus has been just such an educational like kind of a establishment where it's like it builds community in the sense of like we're able to kind of learn with the guests too. Like sometimes guests are really knowledgeable and they come in, they're like, hey, like try this. Have you ever had it? And we're like, no. And they bring these bottles and you're like, thanks. And then there's situations where other guests are like, I don't know anything, and you kind of help them. But yeah, no, it's I don't know what the hell we were talking about. I was like, where are we going with that?
It was cool because I think actually one time I was on a date at Cork Buzz and I did a blind tasting at the bar.
Yeah,
and it was like the best experience of all time.
Oh,
I think you
it's
hooked
fun.
it up too.
No, it's fun. Yeah. So we have this thing where it's like, it's fun. It's this blind tasting situation, and it's just, it's $20 and you come in and we pour you 3 wines and you try to guess it. You know what I mean? But I tell people sometimes like it's kind of cool to just drink wine without having a preconception.
Yeah.
What's in the glass? You know what I mean? Don't stress out about naming things correctly. Just drink it as is and enjoy it for what it is, and tell me if you like it or not. Sometimes it's as simple as that. But yeah, but no. Actually, no. Going back, we were. I get exposed to a lot of people, and it's yes, there are people that are like aficionados, and like these people are like serious, and they got it like that, man. They come in and they share these awesome bottles, and they open up these awesome bottles, and they're very generous about it. And they're like, here, try this, and they're excited. They just want to share it with everybody around them. And then you get people that come in and just like obnoxious about the whole situation, like just kind of just want to swing their wine dick over it, like it's just like, I know this, this is what I normally drink. And you're like, that's cool, like. I know, like, cool. Like, yeah, we all know that's awesome wine. Like, you don't have to keep saying that to me. Like,
the posers.
Yeah, like, I kind of get it. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, I get it. We all get it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, we know. You don't have to keep saying it, but,
They showed up to your place to flex on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, you know what I mean? It's the weirdest flex. It's just like, what? Like, you came in here to brag. Like, yeah, like, cool. Like, yeah, that's what, like, you know what I mean? Like, who does that? Like,
Justin was telling us about his dinner last night that he did, where the people who were sitting next to him were like bragging about how much they were spending on bottles, just like tossing out price tags and labels and stuff. Like,
yeah,
I feel like that inflation, like price inflation, or bragging about it, is like a really weird association with wine.
It is. It absolutely is, and it's one of those things where it's like, I think maybe the closest thing to that would probably be like bourbon or scotch, or like flexing about like oh, I got this 23 Macallan or something like that, or something. It's like. People do that, yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, there's people sometimes don't even know what they're drinking, but they're more concerned about like, yeah, we had this $800 bottle of Burgundy, and you're like, what was it? And, like, I don't know, it was $800. You're like, all right, like, cool, man. Like, I don't even like, you know what I mean?
Sounds like a waste of money. You have no idea what you're doing.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, like, listen, if you got it like that, you got it like that. But no, it's strange. I always talk about that sometimes. I was like, I never understood the dynamic, and this could totally be just on me, but like I've always seen, or people always talk about wine being like this, like a feminine thing to do, right? Like the ladies drink wine and chocolate and this and their cheese board and right, there's this stigma on that. But then it's like, but it's usually like these like older men that are like going out there and balling out. It's never the girls that are balling out. They just want to get drunk on fucking whatever. They don't really care. Like, you know what I mean? They're not there to be like, let me get the $800 because they're not trying to flex or show off on their money or economics or anything like that. They're just like, yo, like, we're just here to have a good time. And it's the guys that come in, they're like, I want to show you that I make money and that I live in Tribeca. I'm like, cool. Like,
why are you bragging to me about this one?
Yeah, and I was like, I'm like, are we on a date? Like, what's going on right now? Like, what's talking to me about?
Guys are the most insecure, basically, is what you're saying.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah, I think so. You can kind of see it too, like, especially at Cork Buzz. I think it's such a date spot too, where I work. So it's kind of fun. Like, it's fun to see that everybody comes in on dates, and it's usually like this guy that like has no idea what's going on. He just Googled wine bar, probably, and then he shows up and he's like, doesn't know it, like, and there's like panic order.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just like, do you want a bottle of sparkling water or tap water or? I'll have a bottle of sparkling and flat. And they're like, you're going to get 2 bottles of water? Like, what are you doing? Like, what is happening right now? Yeah, like, what are you doing? Like, I'll just do this. And you're like, sure. Man, like, all right, man. Like, you sure you want to? Like, don't order red wine and have oysters. You're like, come on, man. Like, it's not a good mix. Yeah. It's not a good mix. You know what I mean?
Do you embarrass guys who are on dates who are intentionally trying to like show their false knowledge of wine?
Coming over the top a little bit.
No. I would never. No, I don't think I would ever get to that point where, because like, there's like, I feel like I have to have some sort of ethic and boundaries. But like, that doesn't mean that I don't turn around and go, what?
Yeah, you walk to the back with your
like,
friends.
Nah, dog. like, you know, but I feel like my job, or I think a job of a bartender or whoever's behind a bar doing something or helping, he should be your wingman. I think so, man. That's what, you know. I strongly believe in that. You know what I mean? So like, I'm usually there just trying to help. And like, sometimes I'm just like, yo, you buried yourself. Like I can't. Like this is way beyond my powers. Like I can't serve her enough wine for her to get over that. Like this is. I don't know, man.
There's no bottle that makes you not an asshole.
Yeah, like I don't know what's going on. Like you mentioned your ex-girlfriend 6 times already, dog. We've only been here for 30 minutes. This is not gonna work, dog. That is not it. So yeah, that happens a lot. But no, I think that, you know, working with wine, it's fun because it's just, again, engaging, talking, but, you know, and trying to be respectful, you know, because I tell people, like, it's nobody's fault. Like, you know, you get people from, like, all over the, you know, the United States that come into Cork, but New York City in general, right? Like, they're in and out, tourists and stuff like that. So it's like, it's interesting to see, like, you know, people from Middle America, and, like, it's not their fault. Like, you know, the market is just terrible there, right? Like, you know, there's just every time I go down, like, you know, somewhere that's not a major city, and you're like, okay, well, I'm gonna go to the supermarket, and like, here's this whole aisle of like Cabernet, and you're like looking at this thing, and you're like, there's 200 bottles of Cabernet, and like, I don't want to drink any of this. Like, this sucks. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is terrible. And there's only like 2 or 3 that are like, oh, like I get that, you know. But, and then that's it. So it's like, I don't blame them for coming in, and it's like, what's been nice about it is being able to show people that like, sometimes it's not really about money, man. Like, I don't, like, I tell people, like, don't worry too much about that. Like, because the more you learn about it, the more you, like, able to cherry pick and find out, like, okay, I can get a deal. Like, I like this wine or I like this style. I can get some for, like, $20, $15, you know. It's going to be delicious. So I tell people, like, try not to be too intimidated by it. Like, hopefully if you got someone that's knowledgeable and compassionate, I should say, you know, they'll steer you in the right direction. They'll make you feel like you're not, you know, blowing it or doing something really stupid. You're like, you know, like, hey, I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
We're here to guide you.
It feels daunting as an outsider. Like we grew up in Texas, and like,
Okay.
I think there probably is some good wine somewhere in Texas, but not really in our childhood. There's a lot of like beer, and, like Jack Daniel's whiskey, like those are the things that are popular. So the idea of like becoming really educated about wine feels super foreign, and it feels like there's just this massive list of things that like I have no idea where to even start. So for you, like, how did you initially get into it? Like, how did you know you wanted to learn more about wine? What drove you to it?
That's a great question, because it's like rooted in so much history in terms of like just working in restaurants. I was as a kid. I remember my mom like got mad at me one day or something like that. I think I was like 15 years old. She was like, get out of the house, go work, go work with your dad. Like, you know, my dad was working in an Italian restaurant at the time, Bergen Beach in Brooklyn. So I ended up working there, and I started doing that for a long time. And I was trying to go to school, and then that didn't work out too well because I was like, I hate this structure, this format of like, do this, and I'm like, and then I was in the arts. I was like trying to go for like be an art major. I was like, what the hell am I doing? Like, you know what I mean? Just like, I'm throwing all this money, and I'm like, you're telling me to draw this plant with bananas around it, like. You know what I mean? I'm like, what? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's
very
like
specific.
Yeah, no, but
Clearly
you know what I mean?
not about that one.
It's like the usual setup. It's like the table with the cloth, and then there's like a fruit basket, and then there's something there. You're like, oh, and then I'm doing this, and then like I guess maybe I can be a little bit competitive when it comes to this artistic thing, because then, you know, I'll do like one of these bad boys, and I'm like, well, how's everybody else painting?
Yeah.
Like, right now I'm like, mine's looking pretty good. Like that looks terrible, and then the professor's just like, oh, your strokes are too heavy on this thing. And I'm like, what are you giving me shit? Like, what about his? Like, you didn't say nothing to him. You were like, good job, keep going, Tommy. Me, it's just like, I don't like your strokes here. And I was like, this is dumb, I'm leaving. So then I fell back to like the only thing that I knew what to do, and it was working in restaurants. And then when I was in Bergen Beach, I met a gentleman named Mark Snyder. He is the owner of Red Hook Winery here in Brooklyn. Cool. And he also owns a wine distribution company called Angel Share Wines. And he was eating there. I met him, and then he was just like, hey, like, what do you do? Like, you know, like, what are you doing or what's going on? I think she just liked my demeanor and my attitude. And I just told him, I said, I just work here on the weekends. I make bank, cash, it's cool. And he was like, what else do you do on the weekday? I said, I don't do anything. And then he extended the invite. He said, hey, man, do you want to work at a winery in Brooklyn? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I told him, I was like, hey, man, I'm just going to let you know, like, I know nothing.
Wow.
Like, absolutely nothing. And it was fun because you kind of get a glimpse of like the production aspect of it, where it is a functional winery. The grapes do come in there. They are crushing, in Brooklyn. And it's fun because there's 3 winemakers there, and there's a range of just styles, right? There's a very here's a very traditional take on wine, and then here's a very experimental, obscure take on it. So it's like you get a glimpse of this is what tradition is, and this is what it means to be experimental. And I didn't know that at the time, that those two things are very separate, and you can learn from that. So I was there, and he just was saying just drink. Don't worry too much about this, and that.
What a good job.
Yeah, no. I mean,
My boss doesn't tell me to do that.
Yeah, no,
Sure, it's Monday. Why don't you just drink today, and then we'll figure out the rest of the week after.
It's awesome. No. Shouts out to Mark. I tell him all the time, he would just be just drink, just do that, just get to know the wines and get a feel for it, get a feel for what it means for something to be lighter in style and something to be fuller in style, just the basics. Learn something that's really acidic to something that's not acidic, something that has a lot of tannin, which is that kind of grippy sensation, to something that doesn't have it. So it was kind of like that. And then on top of that, he would import all these allocated wines from his distribution company side. So there would be days where he would come in with 40 different bottles of Burgundy, and he's just dog, you should try these wines, just blow through them, and you should see the way this guy tastes. It was just does this speed taste. He just boom boom boom. He just see his glass, and he's just that wine's cool, that and that. And you're oh man,
that's crazy.
It's cool. He just has a palate for that, so he knows what good wine is. You know what I mean? So it's kind of cool. It was nice for him to do that and teach me that, and it was funny for a while because I would hear him talk, or I would hear other people talking to describe oh yeah, this is Robert Foley's Chardonnay Clone 95. It tastes like white Burgundy, and I would just mimic that. I would just say these things, right? And I was and then a guest would come in. I'm this tastes like white Burgundy. I had no idea what the hell white Burgundy was, right? I was just saying things, and the guest was yeah, it does, and I'm yeah, it does, and I'm it's just goofy, and I'm Then after a while, I was all right, well, we saw the production side of it. We got to taste a lot of things. Now it's time to tune in, and then from there it was just starting there. It was just reading, and a lot of reading. I tell people, that's probably the most interesting part of it, because it's I picked up Karen McNeil's Wine Bible, and I'll tell that to everybody. Pick that book up, read it in and out, and you're in a good place. And then from there, you can, tune in more. But the idea of, explaining regions and styles and telling you, what are the grapes, or what are you drinking? Well, I'm drinking Burgundy. What are the 2 grapes? Well, Pinot Noir and Chardonnay. This is, cool. It's, there's just 2 grapes. And it's it's a cool region because it's hyper focused on 2 grapes, and they've been doing it for hundreds of years, so they're doing something right? So picked up book up, and then you read that, and then the idea of becoming a sommelier was felt so just so foreign and so distant to me, because I'm nobody in my family does that. Nobody in my family drinks wine. I grew up drinking beer with my dad. And that's really it, right? And that's the kind of culture I grew up as a Mexican. There's no wine culture, and that might be also a financial thing, because Mexicans are not rich, and we don't got it like that.
Yeah.
So it's not it's not part of our culture. So it was very foreign to me. And I remember working at when I was working in Red Hook, there was this kid. His name was Felipe. I'll never forget him. Shouts out to Felipe if you hear this or you see this. I was God, this guy's a douche. No.
Full stop.
No. And I mean that in the best way. I just thought he was a character, man. He's this is Brazilian dude, grew up in Staten Island. He had the strongest Long Island accent, right? It was just real deep. And he was just bro, you don't know anything about wine, bro. Shut up, bro. I'm a som. He would always do these things, and it's just teasing me, right? All the time. But he was good people's, man. And he was fun to hang out with, and he knew a lot for sure. He did, and he was super young, and he was crushing it, man. And I was holy crap, this guy. And I was how could I even think about that, But then I was what would piss him off? If I became a sommelier, I was and I would have yo, shut up, bro. I could do that too.
Yeah.
So I was just I thought it would be just fun to do that. I was exactly. It was maybe this competitive nature, which I kind of thank him for that. I was just let's do this. So I'm studying, I'm reading this thing, I'm learning by myself, and I take the I go to, there's a couple of organizations that kind of help you through the wine journey.
Yeah, I was curious, do you have to go to schools or classes like at that point? Like, do you kind of exhaust the self-taught knowledge?
I don't think you can self-exhaust. I don't think that I think those organizations or those credentials that they exist there to kind of help you,
Sure.
And it kind of makes you more desirable when it comes to hiring. But there's a lot of people that I know that I'm like, man, they didn't go to this route, and they know like a lot more than I do, and it's just like that's insane. That's just from experience and just being in the field for 20 plus years, So there's something cool about that. No, but for me, it was just like, well, I kind of need to, like, this would help me, just kind of push me and kind of give me that, like, well, like, get this done and get it, and do it this way. So I went the route of the quartermasters of sommeliers, which is more focused on service versus every other kind of program that is out there. Everything else is kind of more like structured theory, kind of like learning and information, and then this kind of focuses on like, well, you're going to be working in a restaurant.
Yeah.
And it's kind of geared towards that.
Nice.
So I remember going for those exams and taking like, the intro is the first thing. Then from that you get to certified. And from certified you have to test to get into this advanced course. And then once you take the advanced course, you can take the advanced exam. And from there you got to get invited to be a master. So I only went as far as certified. And I was going to go for the advanced course. And then obviously COVID happened and just kind of ruined everything. But but that's the route that I chose, and I thought it was great. I had a great time doing it and learning, and it's kind of like you're kind of on your own, really. Like it's just like you sign up for these exams and you just give them money, and then you sit there and you're like, cool, let's see what they pour and let's see what they ask me, And then the information can feel like daunting, and it can also almost feel like useless, almost like it's like these questions that are like on these like there's no practical reason for any of this other than
Like a customer's never going to ask me a question like this.
right, exactly. Like, and if they do, I'd be like eye roll, dog. Like, really, dog, you came in here and you're asking me what the residual sugar for this thing, like, I don't care. Like,
I'm gonna start answering that question.
No, it's just like, well, sometimes it can get goofy when people are like, how many days did this wine spend on the skins? And you're like, I don't know, like 6? Like, I don't like. What's like? Is it if I told you 6 and then I came back? Oh, I'm sorry, it's not 6, it's 9. Would you have been like, oh yeah, I thought so? Like it tasted like 9 days. Like you know what I mean? Like what are we? I was like, what are we talking about? Like so like that doesn't really happen. And I understand why these questions exist. It's kind of help you like keep you on your toes and make sure you know a lot of information so you don't really like get caught like being like I don't know, and then you look like an idiot.
Yeah.
And you're like, what do you mean you don't know? Like this is your job. Like it's like going to a doctor. And like what about this? Like I don't know. Like, Doc, what? Like I don't want to.
Who's administering these exams? Like, is there an official body?
Yeah. There's like it feels so like icky to talk about it. It's unfortunate. There was a whole New York Times article, and if you guys have time, you should definitely Google that. It's interesting in a sense of working in restaurant. I think it's very clear that there's issues there, right? Like it's a male dominated industry that unfortunately takes advantage of women, and the wine society and culture and things like that are pretty much in the same boat, right? So we had. Unfortunately, a bit of a hiccup within the organization. I'm not here to talk bad about them because I feel like they are trying their best to fix that, what happened. And yes, unfortunately, it was, these older, sommeliers, these masters that, kind of like gatekeepers, right, in a sense. And they're the ones that administer these exams, right? They oversee this. They're this committee board, and they're the ones that are in charge, and they're the ones that are, like who gets in, who gets out kind of thing, like. It can, for a long time, it's very, like, there's no transparency with a lot of these exams. It was like, you would blind these wines, right, and you're taking these notes, and then they would never tell you what the wines were at the end of the day, right?
So you never know if you're right or wrong or anything?
Right.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, pass or fail, and it's like, well, how do I know that I failed, like, if you don't tell me what it was? Like, you're just saying I failed. Which is fine. Like I'll respect you, and I want to believe that you're being honest and you're being like, no, like you got it wrong, like you know what I mean, or something like that. But it's just like, but like, how do I really know, right? And especially like when you get to like the masters and stuff like that. When you sit those exams, it's like these people are like, well, like it is a lot. Like, you know, like, and it's like what happened. Like, there was a whole nother thing too on top of the whole sexual assault thing. Last year, I believe it was it was a handful of these candidates that had passed. It was like 26. It was like a crazy number. Then turns out that there was information that got leaked. There was an email that was sent to one of the candidates from one of the masters about what the wines were. Right. So what happened was they just voided everybody's
The whole year.
that whole
Oh, wow.
That sucks.
Right. Exactly. So it's like two. So let's just say like one or two. Let's just say even one person was the
Yeah.
one that was cheating, and then everybody else gets voided out. Right. So it's like these are people that have been going for these exams for like 9 years. 10 years. Like people go for this like actively. Like it's not people don't you get the invite, but it doesn't mean you pass. Like you know what I mean. Like these exams are crazy ridiculous. So for that to happen was like, man, like people were like, yo, like you guys have to restructure. You guys have to figure something out, so it sucked. It sucked. And there's a lot of people that retook that exam and they failed,
Jeez.
And there's some people passed, but it's like, there's some people who were like, well, like I did it the right way. I didn't cheat.
Right.
Yeah.
But they're saying I did. And this is it. And it's like, that helps because once you do that, once you have that master pin, it's like, dog, that opens up like opportunities like crazy.
Yeah.
Like
'Cause it sounds like there's not many of them. Like
not
floating
many.
around.
No,
Yeah.
not many. Maybe like less than 300 at the moment.
The country or the world?
Yeah, the world.
The world.
Wow.
The world. Yeah, like that's the world, right? So there,
All right.
so this body organization, there's
Wow.
the Quartermasters of Americas, and then there's one for Europe, and that's it. And it's the one, it's a lot. So yeah, so you can imagine, like I imagine that the reason why these exams are set up this way is to kind of keep that number there, like
Yeah.
stable,
Yeah.
right? Like you don't want to have like there's 3,000 master sommeliers. You're like,
Yeah, you want your job security if you're
yeah,
there
you
already.
want that.
Yeah.
And, you want to be able to secure that like that
Sure.
that that price tag that for yourself, where you can ask for $250,000, $500,000, or whatever, what have you. You becoming a brand ambassador for Screaming Eagle, or and these ridiculous like wineries, you could make bank, man. Like
Yeah.
really, you know what I mean? So it's like, why wouldn't you want to like secure this and be like, okay, well, like if you want to get an invite, then you have to know what this goofy thing means. And you're like, I don't like, come on, man, like don't make me memorize that. Like,
Well, and do they intentionally keep it at 300 or limit the amount of people so that they preserve their job?
I want to believe that that's not the case. I don't know how that works. Or I don't know how their organization works because I've never been on that side of it. So it's I'm not sure what why that number. I imagine it's just low because those exams are like extremely hard. Like like people
Yeah.
say like it's tougher than the bar exam, and I've never taken the bar exam, but it really is. It's difficult, and it's just like it just feels unnecessary.
Yeah.
But like luckily again, I think now with the way social media works and everything else is working, like we're really trying to I think we're branching out of that, like this old structure, this old style of doing things, and like there's opportunity to just grow on your own as an individual.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can have a platform and just start saying things and start doing things. That's sometimes a good thing, sometimes a bad thing. Like I see it, and it's like part of me is like that's cool. Like I mean, like I like the idea that people don't have to worry about doing that or walk into a restaurant or even work in one. They can actually have some sort of like impact on the wine culture into society. Sometimes it's good, like it's a small times. It's good. And then sometimes it's just like some goofy girl that's just like got sponsored by some bullshit rosé company.
Or you
She's
can
like,
kind of make your
"Drink
stuff up because nobody's checking you.
Yeah,
at that
yeah,
point,
something like that too. Yeah, exactly. She'll just say things that doesn't make any like it's just like, what are you talking about? Like, get this wine from Aldi. It's great. Like, cool. Like, I'm like, what is that? I've never heard of that. I've never even seen that. Like, it's $9. You're like, it's probably terrible, dog. You're like, I don't want that. So yeah.
So where do you think you're going to go from here? Like, you've got the Somm certs, you're working, you like your job.
Yeah.
You could go the master route, you could go like influencer, brand ambassador.
Yeah.
You're going to go back to like winemaking. Like,
Yeah.
what feels cool to you?
You know what feels really great? Learning. I think working at the bar and interacting with these people has made me appreciate the idea of one day owning or having my own bar. And I think about that a lot. And I also think about like pursuing more certifications, and like it's hard to get motivated, but there's a lot of people that I work with and that I know that they're doing the right things, and they're there to like help and push and share this information, and they want to see me like grow, right? I don't, like, so it's fun and it's exciting to be a part of that and to see those people, and I feel like I kind of owe them that, right? Like, well, like, you did all this work and you're giving me all this information, you're giving me the resources. Like, the least I can do is just try to continue and pursue some sort of like go for the advance again. I think that would be fun, and because I remember when I was going through it right before like 2019, and we were like there studying as a team, and it was all good, and then when COVID happened, it just kind of like blank slate. But before that, I was like, man, I'm like, no, we had a lot of fun. Like, we would just like walk around with like flashcards in her, and like just switch them up every week. We'd like focus on a different thing, or we'd like meet up before like service of the shift. And our beverage director Ryan Topman, he's awesome. He would like pull down a projector and he was like, we can do like slides together, and we're like looking at slides and stuff like it. But like it also helped him because he was also going for his master's. So it was great to be in a room of like that much knowledge, and just like, and it's just here we are, and we're just present. So like, I do want to continue the education. I think wine that's the point of it. It changes every year. There's always something different. There's always a new producer. There's always something to try. So it's meant to be something that you like pursue and learn about. Whether you take it really seriously or you just want to know, like, what the hell is in my bottle? Yeah. As simple as that. So I do want to do that. And at some point, I think owning a bar would be cool. Like, I like the idea of, like, getting a handful of friends that, like, well, he knows how to cook, and this guy's pretty good at that, and you should fucking run the finances of the whole thing, and then I'll just fucking pour wine, dog. Like, it'll be fine. You know what I mean? So it's just like find a collective and find a team and just like make it happen. But I think that'll be the move. I think that'll be kind of fun to do that, and especially in Brooklyn. I think it's kind of cool. Like, growing up here, I tell people, like, man, like, you hit Ditmas Park, Cortelli Road, from there to like Coney Island, there's nothing. Like, absolutely. And then Cortelli Road is just like that's all right. Like, because it's just kind of that's that last line, right? And I'm like, there's got to be a way to like get into that market and get deeper into Brooklyn.
There's a wine bar every 4 blocks in Williamsburg, so
Yeah, exactly. No, you know what I mean. Like, no, like, we're here. It's cool. I'm like walking by. I'm like, oh, look at all these cool places, man. I would drink here. I'm like, this doesn't exist down where I'm from or where I grew up. You know what I mean? It's like, it's so corny over there. I don't know what's going on. But we gotta. I want to. It's really, it's like the corniest neighborhood. It's not fun. Like, seriously, it's just like you're like, what is this? Like, what are we doing here? Like, it's so goofy here, but. I mean, like, it'd be fun to like try to do something over there and hopefully like expose to people, people that are like, hey man, like, this is what we're doing. This is how we drink wine. It's not
right.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be pretentious. It can be very casual. It can be very cool. It can be very inexpensive. I think that's the best way to approach people. You know what I mean? Because it's fun to drink the expensive shit, but it's like that's only like I think if you got it like that, enjoy it and go for it. I think those wines are awesome. But I'm like, most people don't got it like that, and like. I'm not here to sell that kind of stuff. Like, those wines sell themselves, you know what I mean? They're just on the list to be on the list, and it's just there to attract people, you know what I mean? It's just like, you see it, and you're like, oh, like, oh, look at this bottle, it's $3,000, like, is it good? And you're like, yeah, it's good. And like, is it, I don't think it's worth $3,000, but, if you got $3,000 to spare, fuck it, dog, buy it. It's awesome. It's great, But, like, I'm not going to upsell you. Like, I'm not going to be like, oh, like, what are you thinking about? Oh, you're thinking about this wine that costs $30? Yeah, this one's awesome, but let me tell you, this one here for $3,000, this will be like, you know what I mean? Like, we're not upselling that. We're not selling that. That thing, just like, some guy's just going to see it and be like, yeah, let me get that. And I'm like, cool, here you go. So, like, I don't worry about wines like that. I think the idea is just to focus on, like, people making wines the correct way of, like, in a responsible way, watching carbon footprint, making sure things are done, like, organically, hand harvested. I think those are important things, like things like that. Little subtle things for me, I think it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, that's super cool. Yeah, if you ever open this wine bar, let me know.
Yeah.
Be happy to taste for you. I want to go back to something you were talking about. So, what's kind of the breakdown of the different positions that you could pursue? Like, you said you're more focused on service. There's quartermaster. Like, what's kind of the different paths that you could go, and what's kind of the qualifications you would need to do each one?
Yeah, I've met a lot of people that are that they've started their career like working in a restaurant or at some point or doing something like that, or starting some sort of like certification, and then from there being like and just branching out. And again, this could be things like people become writers. You know, like people, like I've known people that are like, oh, I went to school to be a writer. I ended up working, in a restaurant part time to kind of help with my expenses and stuff like that. And I picked up a little bit of this wine information, and then they become passionate about it, and then they just write about wine. So like that's that profession, right? So you can take that route where you're like, I'm a writer. That's what I do, and I write about wine. I guess you could be a critic too. You can do, again, like really just behind the scenes stuff where you're just really just curating the list and then educating your floor somm team to just sell these wines. Like, oh, we got this in, or we got this by the glass, which is something that like our beverage director does now, Ryan Topman, where he kind of comes in and talks to us, and he's just like, well, we just added this on the list. Oh, we got this cool champagne, and and it's our job now to kind of go out there and make that sell and make that happen. So there's that aspect. I mean, I think when it comes to stuff like this, I've seen a lot of somms that just kind of ditch that whole idea too, and just like they get excited at the idea of like, well, food and wine, right? And then they become, they take a whole route where like I'm a somm chef kind of makeshift situation, right? And you can go that route too. And I've seen a lot of people do that, so that's also been really interesting to see. But yeah, I think you could become a brand ambassador for like some of these really like these cool brands, and just fly you out to like pour these wines and represent these wines, like really, like, you know what I mean? Like you're just kind of the face of like, I'm the face of Opus One, and you're just there and you're just pouring these wines, and it's cool. Yeah, or I mean, there's people that work just like like private, like a private somm, like you know what I mean? Like there's people out there that just got loads of money, man. They're just like pay you to like come in and keep inventory and make sure that their stuff is done correctly, or can you open this up for dinner and can you pour for us? And you're like, yeah, sure thing,
You'd be like a private yacht, like chef somm or something like that.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
you know what I mean?
The ocean.
You could even do like the distribution side of it too. Like it just really depends on like, what really draws you in. But there's a lot of people that get into that aspect of it too, where it's like, it'd be cool to like travel and get to talk to these small producers, and they're like, well, who distributes you in the States? Nobody. Cool, I would like to. You know what I mean? And then you become that guy, right? Where it's like you're just kind of traveling and getting all these wines in, and you're like, you're introducing these wines to the market, so you have an influence on that too, of like what New York City's going to drink. It's interesting to see that sometimes. There's just so much that could be done with wine. I just think that with anything else, I think like just you could just treat it the same way. It's a product. It's still a tangible product. You could trade it. You can do anything you want with it. You can sell an image of it. We should do wine NFTs. No. I think would be like. I mean, like if you, I don't know, you know what I mean, or like, I mean, I guess you can get into that, right? You can talk about that too. Like, it's interesting. I'm excited to see if it gets to that point where it's like, oh, I'm in the metaverse, and it's like I bought this bottle of Bordeaux for $10,000 because it looks cool. Yeah. It's like
somebody will do it.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like someone's gonna make bank on that too. You know, this is gonna be like the celebrity somm that sells it, and people are gonna be like, well, yeah, you told me to buy it, I'm gonna buy it. It's like cool, but yeah, man, it's fun. It's fun that there's so many options and there's so many routes, and you can just really just do anything with it. And I don't know, like for me, it's like I just want people to come in, drink it, enjoy it, give them an experience, and leave with something. Hopefully leave with something. So
I love that, man. Just bringing more people into the community, making it a fun experience.
Yeah.
Well, so besides metaverse NFT wines, any trends in wine that you hate? Like boxed wine in cans and bodegas?
No, you know what?
Frosé.
No, frosés are delicious, actually.
Do you slap the bag?
Yeah. You slap the bag?
Frosés are delicious. No, I think there's a time and place for anything. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not above any of those things. And I tell people all the time, I joke about it too. I'm like, listen, man, you got a bad bottle of wine, just pop it in the freezer. It'll mute any flavor, and then just chug it and just have fun. Like you're just trying to get lit, right? I mean, like if that's your goal, you know what I mean? Or sometimes I'm like, like I'll buy something sometimes, and I don't always buy the right thing. Like, like sometimes I'm like, oh, this will look cool, and then you try like this wine sucks, and you're like, just be like, you know what? Just get some ice cubes, mix it with Coca-Cola. Who cares? You know what I mean? Have fun with it. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not above things like that. So I like things. I think the one trend that really does bother me, is the natural wine trend, right? Like this.
Okay, because I see that everywhere in Brooklyn.
Right.
Every shop says natural wine. Or whatever.
Where it's like, like natural wine. And you're like, what the hell? Like, so there's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many things that comes with natural wine when you think about it like that, and then like the idea of like, well, minimal sulfites that are added to the wine, right? And that's another thing that, fuck, man, people are like, I'm allergic to sulfites. And you're like, no, you're not. No, you're not. I really want to say that as cold as I can, but I can't, right? And I'm just like, oh, really? It's like, oh, have you tried, like, and I'm just like, maybe you should try taking an antihistamine. Sometimes just the histamine is not. And they're like, no, I'm allergic to sulfites. And you're like, fuck, okay. And then you're like, oh, what else? And then they'll order something and they're like, oh, can I get fries? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And then you bring them the fries and then they're dunking it in the ketchup. And I'm like, dog, the ketchup has more sulfites than the wine. Like, you're not allergic to sulfites. You know what I mean?
What an idiot.
Yeah. No, you know what I mean?
Just heard it on a TikTok.
Yeah, no, it's just like, oh man, it's just cringe. But it's not their fault. It's it's people that are saying like, well, you're allergic to tannins, or you're like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Like, or red wine gives me headaches, and you're like, no, it doesn't. Like, you just drink a lot. Like, you just drink a lot.
It's called a hangover, buddy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like, no, it wasn't the red wine. How much did you have? We had 4 bottles. Like, yeah, dog, yeah, that's why, because you just drank a lot. But no, it's like, it's terms like that get tossed around. I think it's just used for marketing, where it's like, it'll say no sulfites added. There's no sulfite free wine, right? But like the way it's worded makes it sound like there's no sulfites in my wine, and then or it'll be like, oh, like biodynamic, and you're like, we're all saying like we're saying these old things, and then there's a lot of producers like from Italy or France that just I've been making wine for 400 years in my family, like, and I don't know what the hell natural wine is. It's just how we do things.
Yeah.
And like if you label that natural or biodynamic or organic, like cool, but like this is just what we do, like I'm not gonna pay all this money to put a little stamp of approval on my label, you know what I mean? Like that's so goofy. Because those things get a little ridiculous where it gets to the point where it's like, well, like, do you care if the fence is painted? Because the paint isn't fucking organic, or you know what I mean? Like, and now, like, you know what I mean? Now the whole vineyard is not organic. That's because wild. Of that. You know what I mean? It's like, does that really matter? Like, so when people say that, it's like, what? It's like being a vegan. You know what I mean? It's like weird, right? It's just like how far do you how far are you gonna go into that? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, so honey's not cool? Like, really? Okay, like, you know what I mean? Like, it just seems a little silly. So that's the one thing that I think that bothers me. And I think I'm not sure who are the people that are like throwing this misinformation out there.
Big natural,
big people. This is super. I don't know who it is, man. Like, there's somebody on Instagram probably just saying this and just like getting all this clout, and then they were like, and then all these people coming to my bar and being like, I want natural wines. They're like, oh man, come on, man. Like, most of it is like that, and it's like, I'm just like. And that's it. That's all they got for me. There's nothing else. It's just I just want natural wine. Like, cool. And just like, sometimes it's kind of like I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pour you whatever. Like, here you go. Just
it sounds like people are just playing themselves almost. Where it's like they trick themselves into thinking like, oh, I can taste this, or like I know the difference. But it's like a lot of times it sounds like you can just put a clever wording of like no sulfites added, and it's like. Actually, nothing really changed. Yeah. But you think it did.
Yeah, you think
because you played this game now that you saw it that it's different.
Right. This is the one I want now.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So like now all of a sudden that's the only reason why you want it, right? Where it's like, well, here's this plain black T-shirt, right? And then like
Kanye made it.
Yeah. Now Kanye. Now there's a little Supreme on it. It's like I'll spend $100 on that. Like what? Like it's still a black T-shirt, right? But it's unfortunate that like. People are doing that, and there's people that take advantage of that situation, and it sucks. And I think Cork Buzz and what we do, I think it's important for us to try to relay that information and have patience. You have to be patient with people, and I try to be patient as much as possible because again, at the end of the day, it is my job, and at the end of the day, I do want people to come back, and I want people to learn from that, and I want to tell them like, hey, like, don't get suckered into this, like, don't get caught up into this little scheme and things like that. I was going to talk shit.
You're trying to poison us, man. You contains sulfites.
This one contains sulfites, unfortunately. Yeah, this one.
I already have a headache, man.
I'm not going to have any.
Can you take us through some tasting notes?
I can't have any more. I can't have any more ketchup.
Right.
I got all the sulfite.
So from a certified somm, what are we supposed to be tasting in this?
Oh man, so this is a grape that's called Gamay. Which is kind of, it's just a really light, juicy style of wine. It comes from a region just south of Burgundy called Beaujolais. And it's cool because I think it's just a wine that like a lot of somms. It's just kind of like, I'm like the stereotype right now. This is like the wine that like all these somms like to drink just because it's just so easy and it's a crowd pleaser too. I think that's the reason why we like to pour it and we're always excited to pour this thing. But it's just... this red wine, it's made in a style that's called carbonic maceration. It just means that the fermentation is actually happening inside of the grape versus like pressing and letting the juice ferment separately or kind of in that kind of way. So this is kind of cool. This intercellular fermentation, then it gets pressed and then it gets kind of bottled, simply put. And the result is just, again, this just really light, juicy, fruity wine.
Cool.
With soft tannins. I tell people just like tart red fruit. I try not to, I hate being that guy that's like, this is like wild strawberries, crushed pomegranates.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a little bit of an orange twist, you know, like that. Like, it's just like, oh, it's just red fruit.
Yeah.
It's light, it's juicy, it's fresh. Try it, you know what I mean? And then like it's open to interpretation. Like you would be like, hey man, I get pomegranates on this, and I'm like, wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong. Raspberry. Definitely raspberry. Like
Idiot.
What? Like what? Yeah, you know what I mean. So it's like sometimes I tell people like, like it's cool to like throw out those like terminologies, but it's just like keep it simple. Like
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm curious just on that thread of like, people can kind of get in their own head about what they're tasting.
Yes.
How long did it take you to fully master, like, what you're tasting?
Oh, listen, I get humbled every now and then too, which I think is why we do the wine tasting. Not just for like a customer, but for ourselves too. Like it just every now and then we blind ourselves, or if I can go somewhere and they offer something like that, I do it because it's just like the idea is like we're always trying to stay on top of that, right? Because it's just consistency and memory bank. I think is the most important thing, right? Like you could have a great palate and I can taste grapefruit and I know this and I know what's going on, but it's like if you don't have any like theory behind it or any backbone to it, it's like what's the point of it? Like you don't know what you're looking for. You might be tasting correctly, but you're like you don't know what to
You have
add
no
it
reference,
to.
yeah.
So for us, it's like no, just always taste, always be familiar. So like, and you build a memory bank that way, and that's how you become a great taster. I think just being consistent and always trying different. Like always, I tell people like the biggest mistake is just like I just drink one wine. Like I just drink Pinot Noir from California. Like that's all I do, and it's like well, those wines are great, obviously, but it's just like you should branch out, and do it for reasons that are like not just for pleasure. Sometimes you're like, yeah, dog, that wine sucks. Like I hate that.
Yeah.
Like, but at least like
Sure, you
for
tried
sure.
it.
Like I tried it, I've done it, I hate it. I don't like it, and that's fair. And like cool, fair game. Like you tried the same grape from all around the world, it ain't for you. That's cool.
Right.
But you learn about yourself. Like I don't like that kind of wine. That wine's too peppery for me. It's terrible. And then so that's how I think you become a great taster. Just constantly doing that, using what we call this the grid, where it's just like a format for sommeliers to just kind of like just break down the wine for what it is, right? Where it's like the color, the viscosity, the aromatics, the palate, the structure of the wine. Like you're just tasting these wines for what it is, and then from there being like, I think this is a really good bottle of wine. I think this is made really well, and that's how you become good. Just always taking just a little bit, like, just don't be obnoxious about it. I tell people, you know what I mean? Like, if I'm here hanging out with you guys or anybody in any environment, it's like, it'd be corny if I'm just like, give me 2 minutes, I gotta go through the grid. And like, I'm just fucking, you know what I mean? Like, no, like, am I tasting the wine as I'm talking to you guys? Yes. Do I think it's cool? Yes. If I think it's delicious? Yes. But it's like, but it's not like, it doesn't have to be that intense. But yeah, I tell people, you want to be a good taster, just drink a lot. And it's fun because you it's just you get drunk off of it and you have fun with it. Like I think that's the best way to do it for sure.
It's a good learning experience.
Yeah, man.
Preference wise, fuck, marry, kill, red, white, rosé.
Fuck, marry, kill, red, white, rosé. I would absolutely kill rosé. Fuck that. No.
Rosé all day.
No. I would totally fucking kill rosé.
I'd murder the shit out of rosé.
Yeah, I would murk that shit. I would stab it.
Mid-20s girls in Manhattan are angry
like,
everywhere.
I would stab you. No, the only reason why I say that is I think the idea of like rosé is like I get it. I get the appeal. To me, it just feels like you like started making a red wine and you're like, fuck it, just like you fucking half-assed it, right? Like you started there and it's just like I don't want to wait 3 weeks. It's just 3 days. Just bottle that shit. Let's just sell it. And a lot of it is just to get like cash flow in, right? Like a lot of the times, right? That's the thing with that. It's just like, well, like here's this thing that we just made and it's sat on for like 12 hours and it's like pale as shit. Put it in a cool bottle and just sell it to fucking the Hamptons, right? And it's like, and they drink it and like, I love it, you know, and they love the color, you know. And but I hate it because it's like, it's just there's so, again, not only does it feel like you just stripped a lot of that like flavor, it just feels like, again, like a weak like red wine, like oh man, like you're just doing something here. And then you have those producers that are like, well, ours is a little more extracted, and it's got, and I can appreciate that. There's like a handful of like rosé producers that I think sommeliers respect, and they're like, these rosés are delicious, and you're like, you taste those, and you're like, just fucking make a red wine. Like I don't understand. Like you know, like why are we dancing in this in between, right? So like, yeah, no, rosé I would totally kill. Fuck and marry, man.
It's like Sophie's Choice.
There's so many choices. Who do I want to fuck? No, you know what? I think I want to fuck white wine all day.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. It's high acid. It's refreshing. It's like it's just it's just like Riesling. Like, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, it's so zippy, it's so alive. It's just like it's always got energy. You know, you're like, yeah, man, like it's ready to fuck, son. Like, you know what I mean? It's down, dog. And I think. And then I would marry red wine, because red wine's like, it's just there. It's all good.
It's classy.
Fine.
It's
It's
stable.
classy.
Yeah.
Exactly. It ain't going nowhere. It's gonna hang out for a bit. You know what I mean? We're here for the long run. This is a marathon. You know what I mean? We're not chugging this. This is, you know, like, I'm committed. I'm gonna marry you. You know what I mean? This is it. This is our relationship. So yeah, damn. That was a great question. I don't think I've ever got that one.
Honestly, like that's a good
That's perfect.
that's a good question to,
Yeah.
to end on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. I mean, thank you for being here, man.
No, man.
This is
Thank
so
you guys.
fun.
No, seriously.
I
appreciate
honestly,
it.
I learned a ton about this.
Yeah.
And now I gotta stop drinking rosé.
Yeah. All those.
I gotta ask about. I gotta tell everybody I'm allergic to sulfites when I go to wine bars.
Do that.
This is good. That's what I learned. That's what I'm taking out.
Do that. Yeah. That's it.
No, but thank you so much. This was super awesome. Like we're totally glad that you got to come here and do this.
Yeah. Seriously. Thank you.
Sick, man. Thanks.
Thanks, boys.